Engines roar, louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens, captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray. Louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we get ready here for our penultimate race of the Outcast Racing League season. And Season 9 quickly coming to a close. A bunch of drivers looking to try to work themselves into a championship form here this evening. A few drivers trying to put themselves into a position where they can potentially win this championship, and that's going to be a big deal for a lot of these drivers. Obviously, a lot of them looking to try to win that championship, hoping to get it done, hoping to find their way not only into victory lane, but at least enough points to race their way into the show and into that championship 8 here next Sunday. As it's going to be a great race, going to be a wild one. Obviously, 200 laps at Daytona International Speedway next week. A long race, but a very, very exciting race for everybody to enjoy, as we get 90 laps here at Talladega Super Speedway here this evening. Let's take a look at those standings as the top 8 drivers there, everyone above that red line right now is able to advance into our championship 8. But it's a lot of these drivers, man, they are very, very tight in points. When you look at, that cut line right now of Mike and Devin, they are tied in points, only 3 points above that cut line. You look up there, you see Tuisku, only 4 points ahead. You see Anthony Garland there as well. So very, very tight there from that first spot below the cut line up to about our 5th place driver in the point standing. So it's going to get very, very interesting out there on the Speedway for who's going to be able to race their way into the show here this year. As you do see Adolfo Castillo there, he's only a few points outside of that cut line. Same with that number, I believe it's the 14, right? It says Jordan. I'm not sure which Jordan that is. Does that not say Jordan? Or does it say Johnny? It's Jordan. Jordan is not here tonight, so that's a heartbreaker there for Jordan. Heartbreaker for Bromfield as well, as Bromfield missed last week's race. So Bromfield didn't get any points in that last race. He was in a decent position, but now he all of a sudden is on the outside looking in and is pretty much in a must-win situation here this evening. So for a lot of these drivers, if you're below that cut line, you need to either win or try to get some great stage points and a great finish here and hope that you can leapfrog one of those other drivers that are just above that cut line. If you're a driver like Al or Caleb or even Cam, you're sitting pretty right now. You're feeling pretty confident going into this race that you should be able to lock yourself in, but you can never take anything for granted. I do believe Cam and Caleb are probably A-okay. I don't know if they'll be able to lose enough points to miss out on our Championship 8, but for Al, Casey, Chris, they're all right there. They are tough to it. It's Billy Jordan. Billy Jordan. Okay, I was looking at first names because you have Adolfo as his first name on there yeah, Adolfo. You don't have Castillo there, so I was thinking, what in the world's going on here? As one of them had first name, the other one didn't have first name, and it kind of threw me through a loop right there. As we're gonna get ready to set them loose, starting on the pole, it is Billy Jordan. So Billy Jordan hoping to find a great run. He's able to get an extra bonus point right there from qualifying on the pole, so that's a great break there for Billy, adding that extra bonus point, allowing him to maybe get that 1 point he may need to advance into that Championship 8. As Billy Jordan, Anthony Garland, Josh Bromfield, Chris Muse, Johnny Thunders there in the Fastenal number 60 right, our top 5. Kurt Sponsler, Al Reed, Chad Lancaster, Mike Killingback, Devin Black, our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Adolfo Castillo, James Garland, Casey Gross, Robert Tuiscu, Cameron Combs, Gary Wright, Ryan Haller, Edward Belair, and Caleb McKinney round out our field here, as unfortunately looks like McKinney and Edward Belair both not out there on the racetrack to start this race. Haller, the last driver out there right now in this pack, as we are clean and green as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation, and it's the 14 ride of Billy Jordan who's out in front, continuing to lead the way here in this one as he's going to take us down the back straightaway. All these drivers start to build up that speed, that momentum, as now we do see Caleb McKinney does leave pit road here. So McKinney is back out on the racetrack here. Unfortunately missed the start of this race, but down just starting to roll up the speed here, building up that momentum out of corner number 2. Unfortunately, as he rolls out of corner number 2 here, our race leader is already storming down the front straightaway here and into the tri-oval, so probably about half a track behind them, and without any drafting help back there for that number 76, could be the first car to go a lap down here in a quick hurry. Now, we should have a couple stages here as well on the evening, so that's going to be a big break for a lot of these drivers, knowing that, you're going to get some stage breaks. You're going to have a couple opportunities to do that. Now, I'm not sure on what our stage breaks will be, so it looks like lap 20 and lap 40 for our stage breaks here this evening. So lap 20 and lap 40 will be our stage breaks here this evening. And now for that 76 ride, he's just got to hope that for the first 20 laps of this race that he can keep himself, far enough and enough speed that he can keep himself on the lead lap, or even if he does go a lap down, that hopefully he can get that free pass, the lucky dog. If no one else goes a lap down before that first caution flag, then he could be in position to get that lucky dog in back into the lead lap action here this evening. As everyone moving around, everyone's still trying to find lanes and pushing partners and teammates out there on the racetrack to try to jump up in battle here towards the front of the field, as you see a pair of the Poor Boy Motorsports rides right there in second and third. Anthony Garland leading the outside lane, looking for a big run down the back straightaway, and he will get it there off the nose of Chris Muse. Now Muse going to jump down to the inside there with the 81. They're going to leave the high side high and dry. Now that could be a good break, could be a bad break here for the 49 of Kurt Sponsler, but Sponsler getting a great shove here. You can see that all the sparks coming off the nose of that 49 machine. Obviously, he's got his car set up nice and tight to the racetrack here, looking for all the aerodynamics there in that NOS Energy machine, and luckily enough, he's able to hang on to it, keep on battling here, but does fall back again into about that third, fourth position as he's now battling door to door with Billy Jordan for that third spot on the racetrack. Chad Lancaster right there in the mix as Bromfield slides back into position number 6. Here comes Killingbeck, Al Reed, Adolfo Castillo in that poultry shack number 31 right in the 7 of Devin Black. Black still rolling out our top 10 here in this one. Then you see Casey Gross, James Garland, that beautiful Ghost Energy drinks, the Warheads Ghost Energy rides out there on the racetrack as Robert Tuiscu and his RT3 Designs number 6 machine rolls there in 13th. Gary Wright up to his outside with Cameron Combs back here in that 15th position as the beautiful Elite Sim Racing ride looking good as always here this evening. And I want to give a huge shout out here to Cam as it is the Combs Custom Paint 240 here this evening. A huge thank you to Mr. Cameron Combs for not only jumping in board and sponsoring this race, but being a part of this series, and obviously one of those drivers hoping to battle for this championship here this year. I'm super excited. If you guys are looking for any custom paint jobs or anything else for your iRacing paint schemes, I'm assuming, or maybe even in real life paint jobs, make sure you guys get a hold of Cameron Combs, get that figured out, get some absolutely amazing paint schemes done by Mr. Combs here today. Shout out there to Combs Custom Paint here today, as they are our race sponsors. Out in front, it's still this 81 ride. That is that Toyota Camry machine of Mr. Anthony Garland. Garland leads the way with Chris Mew still right there behind him. Kurt Sponsler still trying to work that outside lane here, hoping that he could get some good pushes, some good help, and maybe try to get a shove up to the front of the field here himself, as all these drivers, they know every single point is going to matter out there on the racetrack. Now you get a bonus point, obviously, for being quickest there in qualifying, so that's a great break for Billy Jordan, and he was able to lead a lap, so he gets another bonus point there as well. Now you do see, I do believe that is, I think it's Ryan Haller right here. Haller, unfortunately, it already had to come down pit road, and for that number 20 ride out there on the racetrack, I do believe he is already one lap down and could potentially go 2 laps down here as our race leaders start to catch up to him. So tough break for some of these drivers. Now we start to see some come down pit road. Look out! Oh, Anthony Garland making a big mistake right there. One of our playoff drivers having an issue trying to get down pit road. Now this is an interesting strategy here, coming down pit road this early. You see a bunch of them head down pit side here looking to get some work done. He gets in a little too hot, locks him up, and as he's locking up those tires trying to get this thing checked up, it goes around, just kisses the inside wall right there. Not a lot of damage or any damage at all for that 81 ride, but that's going to lose a ton of track position for him, and he's just trying to get this thing back into gear and rolling again, and it's taken him quite a while. And unfortunately, as that takes so long, he comes back out onto the racetrack. He's probably not going to be with those other drivers, and it does look like he may still have a holding penalty there, as they already are rolling down here through corner number 1 and 2, and unfortunately Josh Bromfield pretty much at the back of that pack of drivers that just came down pit side. Anthony Garland, he finds himself already a big chunk of change back behind those guys, so he's not going to have any drafting help here himself. Went from virtually leading this race to now all of a sudden not being in it very much, as Tyler Humphrey says car number 20 and 25 serve penalties from accidents from Charlotte. Yet I figured, well, for the number 20 ride, it definitely happens, and obviously Edward Belair, I'm assuming his penalty may be of not racing tonight, as we still haven't seen Edward out there on the racetrack. But for Haller, obviously having to make that pass-through penalty and everything else here, definitely a crowdy break for the 20 ride. We'll have to wait and see if he can battle back from that, if he can try to get a couple waiver rounds or something to try to get him back into this race and back into the action here this evening. As out in front, now leading the way here, it is Mike Killingbeck. Killingbeck is out in front. He is our race leader right now. Now Killingbeck, Adolfo Castillo, Casey Gross, Gary Wright, Al Reed, Kurt Sponsler, Robert Tuiscu, Cameron Combs, and Johnny Thunders have all yet to come down pit side. Now, Johnny Thunders has lost that draft. He's about 21 seconds behind our race leaders, and he's about 18 seconds in front of this secondary pack that have already come down pit side here on lap number 6. But for Killingbeck, Castillo, Casey Gross, our top 9 drivers out there on the racetrack, yet to make a green flag pit stop. And by the looks of it, they're coming this time. Here they come. Drivers starting to make that hard left-hand turn. We'll see if they can get in there nice and easy. The 77 ride of Casey Gross comes in with a big hit of steam right there. It's going to be close there. He may have gotten a speeding penalty, and that is a heartbreaker for the Quantum Motorsports 77 ride. Definitely not wanting to throw away a good race or ruin your opportunity to try to advance into that championship 8 here next week by making a mistake down pit road. So we'll have to wait and see his driver just come down. They get that splash and go. Obviously, fuel mileage here at Talladega going to play that vital role, and obviously drivers can't make it that full 20 laps, so they had to come down pit side. They got to make that pit stop, and we'll have to wait and see if we get more of these drivers down pit road, as we do see Al Reed, Kurt Sponsler, Robert Tuiscu, Cameron Combs, and Johnny Thunders all staying out here, not coming down pit side as of yet. We'll have to wait and see if they try to come down pit road here later in this stage. Is nice and easy through that tri-oval and back down across the start finish line here. They will click off 10 laps completed already here today. 10 laps done here at Talladega Super Speedway, and we're just getting things started. Things are just starting to heat up here in this one. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. Huge shout out to Playford Sheets. Playford coming in with that like on the stream. James Garland, my boy James coming in, showing the big love with the heart reaction. Chris Pilo, what's good, Pilo? Chris coming in, showing the love with the like on the stream. And my boy Greg Michael Deacon coming in with that thumbs up here on the broadcast as well. How are you, Craig? How are you, Chris? Playford, hopefully you guys are all having yourselves a wonderful Sundays. Here we go. We do see all these Elite Sim racing rides head down pit sign being brought down by Al Reed with Kurt Sponsler, Cameron Combs, Robert Tuiscu all headed down pit side. They're all trying to come down together. They all want to leave together, stay tight out there, and hope that it can give them an advantage here with these pit stops, and hoping to try to roll out here as, oh man, tough break right there. We saw not only Cameron Combs, but also the 6th ride, not once but twice, had to back up that car to try to get this thing fueled up, and now that could lose him the draft here with his teammates. You see Al Reed rolling back out. Here comes Cameron Combs, Kurt Sponsler. I feel like they wanted to come out a little bit tighter than that. Unfortunately, not as tight as they wanted to be, and here we go. We do see that lead pack roll right on around them. They got that speed, they got the momentum built up, and Killingback will roll around them, put them a little deeper in the field here as Killingback, Adolfo Castillo, that number 16, Aguirre right now into 3rd. Casey Gross there in 4th. Chris Muse rounding out our top 5 on the racetrack is Billy Jordan, Devin Black, Chad Lancaster, Josh Bromfield, and James Garland are our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Al Reed now back into 11th with Cameron Combs, Kurt Sponsler, Robert Tuiscu right there behind him in position number 14. Then we see Anthony Garland. Anthony currently sits still on the lead lap here, back in the 15th position. Johnny Thunders also still on the lead lap. Johnny's back in position number 16. For Caleb McKinney, McKinney unfortunately is now a lap down here. We saw him miss the start of this race, and unfortunately as he missed the start of the race, he was not able to jump back out there quick enough. It's now we're a lap down. But as of right now, he is in that free pass position, so he is available and potentially going to pick up that lucky dog here this evening. So that's a big break there for that number 76 ride to be able to get back into the action, back onto the lead lap, and back into the battle here today. As you want to be a part of the racing action, you don't want to be stuck back here a lap down, and with the stage break coming in not too long here, just a few laps from now, and with Caleb already coming down pit side, making that green flag pit stop and having enough fuel to make it to the end. He's always got a good car, so I'm assuming that we're going to see him kind of stick right here, or at least up towards the front in this lead pack. And if they run into any more drivers to put a lap down, potentially he'll be able to stay in front of them and stay in that lucky dog position, as Johnny Thunder is the next car out there on the racetrack that could potentially go a lap down right now, as he is currently about 36, almost 37 seconds behind our race leaders. Has no drafting help. He's all by himself out there on the racetrack, and for the 60 ride, definitely not a place you want to be right now. And he's hoping that he can maybe just stay in front of our race leaders and not go a lap down or have to worry about trying to battle for that lucky dog here this evening. All these drivers doing a fantastic job. Some great racing here early on in this one, man. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of side by side, and a few drivers making some moves up and through the field. Obviously using pit strategy, obviously using everything that they know about Talladega to work in their favor. And as of right now, we do see Killingback up 9 spots. Adolfo Castillo, he's up 10 positions. Gary right there in 3rd. He's up 14 spots on the racetrack, in double digits as well. They're 10 spots up for Casey Gross. So our top 4, all 4 of them are our hard chargers out there on the racetrack right now. They've all been moving forward. A lot of these other drivers, unfortunately, have been falling backwards, and That's going to make things tough. That's going to make things very, very interesting as we'll have to wait and see if some of these other drivers can close that gap, join that battle at the front of the field, make some moves, and try to get around these guys. As now we do see Gary Wright come down pit road here. This is a heartbreaker for Gary. It looks like he did not get enough fuel into that 16 ride as he was down pit road on lap number 9, but coming back down pit side here on lap number I do believe this is lap number 15 now off the board. So coming down pit road, giving up that top 3 run, and now potentially could go a lap down out there on the racetrack if he's not quick enough down pit side. As killing back Adolfo Castillo, Casey Gross, our top 3 here in this lead pack. It's a 4-car pack here as the 76 ride of Caleb McKinney still trying to keep himself on the lead lap out there on the racetrack. Caleb, unfortunately, is a lap down, but he's in the free pass position, so even if we see this stage come to a close, he should be able to get that lucky dunk and back into the battle here today as killing back Adolfo Castillo, Casey Gross, our top 3. Then you see Billy Jordan back there in 4th, and Chris Muse rounding out our top 5. Devin Black, Josh Bromfield, Chad Lancaster, James Garland, and Al Reed, the top 10 out there on the racetrack. And now we look at the point standings and see some of these drivers that are a part of our playoffs still not having the best start of their race here this evening. When you look at a driver like Anthony Garland or Robert Tuiscu, even some other drivers that are a little deeper in the pack here and potentially could be giving up some points to the drivers back behind them, making things even tighter there deeper in the field for this race. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, how everything kind of gets shaped up here, and what the playoffs are going to look like for our final race of the season next Sunday afternoon. But as of right now, we do see this number 70 rider, Mike Killingback, continue to lead the way. He's nice and easy down through the trial and back down across the start-finish line here at Talladega Super Speedway. He sees only 3 laps left to go here in stage number 1. His number 1 stage about to come to a close, but we'll have to wait and see if the 31 ride or maybe Casey Gross or any of these other drivers decide to try to make some moves here, trying to put themselves up and around that number 70 rider if they're feeling confident and comfortable right now, just riding in behind him and getting some solid points on the day. Excuse me. As we do see the number 60 right there, Johnny Thunders. Thunders, unfortunately, in the Fastenal Ford, does go a lap down right there. So now Thunders also a lap down out on the racetrack. Caleb McKinney, though, able to hang on to that free pass position as he rolls right now virtually 3rd in line out there on the racetrack. Now looking to move a little farther forward as he's trying to get to the back bumper here of that 70 machine. Looks like he will be able to jump up, complete that pass, and now we do see Adolfo Castillo up and in to position number 3 on the racetrack as he's actually still in 2nd as the 76 ride is still a lap down. So McKinney just maybe trying to race his way back onto the lead lap here. Even though he's in that free pass position, if he does see a caution flag or the stage break, he will get that wave around the lucky dog and be back into the lead lap racing here this evening, as we do see Gary Wright still down pit side. Heartbreaker there for that 16 machine as he's still down pit road getting some work done to that car, hoping to slide back out there on the racetrack real quick, as we do see Ryan Haller out there as well. Haller also another driver that's a lap down, potentially even almost 2 laps down out there on the racetrack. So we'll have to wait and see if Haller can try to rebound from that, put that 99 ride back up here into the broadcast booth. There's the caution flag, our first caution flag of the day. It looks like Chad Lancaster going to run into problems. So Chad Lancaster going to have an issue here a little deeper in the field. Let's take a look at him. Already has a little front end damage right here. I'm not sure if he gets in the back end of somebody. I don't know. He just kind of rolls down in through corner number 4. Then all of a sudden the car just starts turning left and keeps going left. He's down on the apron, and then all of a sudden he's going down through the grass right here, down across the start finish line. The car locks up and up into the outside fence right there, and a big hit for that 0-2 machine, and that will put us under the yellow flag as he takes his car right back down behind pit wall. Heartbreaker there for him, and that will be our first yellow flag of the day, and that will complete stage number 1 here as well. So our first stage of the day also going to come to a close as Mike Killingback able to win stage number 1 here this evening. Adolfo Castillo there in 2nd. Casey Gross in position number 3. Devin Black, Josh Bromfield, our top 5 with Chris Muse, Billy Jordan, James Garland, Al Reed, Kurt Sponsler rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. So our top 10 all getting stage points here this evening. Killingbeck getting a lot of good stage points right there. And obviously all these drivers ready to go back to battle, ready to duke it out here again as we'll get another 20-lap run to finish off stage number 2 out there on the racetrack. And then 50 laps to finish this race. But we will get a few laps here to try to get all these drivers stacked up, racked up, potential pit stops for everybody, and then we'll see them jump back out onto the racetrack after a quick word from our sponsors over at Midland Struggler. Alrighty, as here we go. Drivers heading down pit side here. Potential green flag or caution flag pit stops here for all these drivers. So all these cats coming down pit road, they're going to make their pit stops. They're going to get their cars worked on. Now they're rolling back out onto the racetrack as Killingbeck came down with the race lead. He leaves pit lane with the race lead as Adolfo Castillo still right there behind him. Devin Black in third with Josh Bromfield. Chris Muse, our top 5. Billy Jordan there in 6 with Cameron Combs, Al Reed, James Garland, and Kurt Sponsler, our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Is Casey Gross, Anthony Garland, our top 12, and then we see Robert Tuiscu, Chad Lancaster back there in 14th. Johnny Thunders down pit side. He scored back in the 15th position. Then we see Caleb McKinney, who I do believe did get the lucky dog right there, or at least in contention for that lucky dog out on the racetrack. Still looking for the official word for the drive around here, the wave around past that official iRacing pace car out there on the racetrack as Ryan Haller also back out there. He's looking to try to keep on battling, hoping to get a couple more quick caution flags to get not only the other drivers in front of him back onto the lead lap, but also trying to get himself back onto the lead lap here this evening. Gary Wright there in 18th. Unfortunately, looks like Gary has taken his 16 ride down and off of the racetrack here this evening. Looks like his day is done here at Talladega Super Speedway. Heartbreaker there for him as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here from Talladega Super Speedway as the Outcast Racing League penultimate race is here. It is upon us, and a huge shout out to Combs Custom Paint as well for being our race sponsor here this evening. This is the Combs Custom Paint 240 here from Talladega Super Speedway this evening, and down across the line they will click off lap number 22. So 22 laps done and completed here this evening. I do believe next time around we should see that green flag come back out as the lights are off the official iRacing pace car, and we'll get ready to go back to work here. We'll get ready to duke it out once again, and for these drivers, they're just hoping for another clean run, another good drive out there on the racetrack. Not a lot of caution flags, a lot of contact or any chaos out there. They're hoping that they can make it to the end, and if we can avoid having these big wrecks or having big issues out there where drivers really get thrown behind the 8-ball or have their nights ruined by some contact out there on the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see how this kind of rolls out and plays out here for a lot of these drivers, as Killingbeck, Adolfo Castillo 1 and 2, Devin Black there in third with Bromfield back in position number 4. Chris Muse there rounding out our top 5 as we'll get them stacked up, racked up, and ready to go to battle here, ready to duke it out here this evening, man. This could be a lot of fun. This could be really interesting to see, you know, who's going to be able to try to pick up that second stage win on the day, as well as the points always so important. The points always what's kind of on the back of the mind of all these drivers, knowing that they want to get those stage points and try to put themselves into what could be a winning situation out there. So we'll have to wait and see kind of how this one plays out, as there's another good look at our point standings here, as that's our top 12 right now. Our bottom 4 drivers will be eliminated here today at the end of this race. For the top 8, though, they will transfer through. They will make it into that Championship 8 race. So if you win the race, you're automatically locked into that Championship 8 finale. But if you're racing on those points and you're a little deeper back there in the pack, you know that you got to try to get as many stage points in the best race drive in the race finish that you can get to try to put yourself into contention to potentially leapfrog some of these drivers and race your way into that championship hunt here next Sunday afternoon. As here we go, back to green flag racing is down through the Geico restart zone. We do see the number 70 ride and Adolfo Castillo working together right there. Looked like Castillo maybe got a little bit of a jump there on that 70 ride. Now Killingback is our control car here, so the 31 ride already up and off the pace here. I do believe he realized what that problem was. Let's take a look back here, as it just seems like the 31 fires off way too early here. He's already on the throttle. He's already going. We're not even at the Geico restart zone as of yet, and Killingback is our race leader. Didn't even beat him or come close to beating him back down across the start-finish line. I think Adolfo realized that. He's trying to pay for that price. Unfortunately, out there on the racetrack as of right now, he's scored back in the 11th position. And that's definitely not a spot you want to be. And obviously giving up all that track position, having that problem, he's still slow and looks like he is going to get potentially a pass-through penalty here as well. So heartbreaker there for the 31 ride. As not only did he lose a bunch of time there to our race leaders, but he also has to make this pass-through penalty after jumping that restart. And for the Poultry Shack number 31 ride, definitely not the way he wanted things to go today. And he's going to take this opportunity to head down pit road, potentially throw some fuel into that ride, and roll back onto the racetrack. So he's trying to hopefully make it so that this is half decent and he can maybe make it to the end of the stage on fuel. It may still be very, very tight for him, but we'll have to wait and see if he can make it to the end. As out in front, Devin Black continue to lead the way here. Black now out in front with Chris Muse there in second. Lancaster up and into position number 3 as Killingback slides all the way back to 4th. Bromfield there in 5th with James Garland, Billy Jordan, Al Reed, Casey Gross and Johnny Thunders rounding out our top 10 here on the racetrack. Anthony Garland back in 11th with Cameron Combs, Kurt Sponsler, Caleb McKinney there in 14th, Robert Tuiscu in the 16th position, and Adolfo Castillo just rolling back out onto the racetrack, building up that speed momentum. Now he's really hoping that he does not go a lap down, or that some of these other drivers may have to still make that green flag pit stop here before the end of this second stage. Ryan Haller, he's hoping for a couple more yellow flags here as well, knowing that he could potentially get back on the lead lap, maybe some waiver rounds or some lucky dogs, and could get back into contention here this evening after having to serve last week's penalty for that 20 ride. So good to see him still running good and having a strong run out there, and hoping that he can race his way back from that early adversity out there on the racetrack. Gary Wright unfortunately took his car down pit side right around lap number 15 there, and unfortunately has not rejoined the field, and it looks like his day may be done. Same with Edward Belair, as Edward still yet to jump out onto the racetrack here himself, as Devin Black, though, does lead this race. So Black out in front, showing these drivers that he's got a good car, he's got a fast car, and that when he's got the opportunity to get that fresh air onto his hood, he may be super, super good out there at the front of the pack. Some drivers are better at receiving pushes, other drivers are better at giving pushes, and we'll see that throughout the evening, where drivers kind of work with each other and they kind of learn each other's tendencies on whether or not you're a good pusher, or potentially you're even better as being the driver getting pushed out there down these straightaways and through the corners here at Talladega Super Speedway, as they all want to try to keep that momentum up, try to run the fastest laps that you can, but a lot of it comes down to that draft. Without that draft, these drivers are running virtually a couple laps slower lap times here, lap by lap by lap, but as of right now, everyone is still kind of on a little bit of a conserve mode, not a whole lot, but a little bit here, as I think a lot of drivers still know that their fuel could become a bit of an issue here. They may have to save for, the next 3-4 laps, maybe the next 8 laps, and then gonna go all at it there in those final 7 laps of this race. As Black, Chris Muse, Chad Lancaster. Here comes Lancaster once again on the outside lane. He's getting a big shove by that 13 ride of Mr. James Garland. Garland trying to push him right towards the front of the field here. This is actually a pair of Garlands now up into the outside lane as here comes Anthony Garland. Anthony rolling the outside here as well, and he'll actually jump up and clear the number 12 of Chris Bromfield. Now he's going to clear the 99 of Chris Muse, and Mike Killingback's looking for this race lead down through corner number 1 and 2, and it looks like he may just get exactly what he was hoping for, as he's now out in front but open to try to keep all these other drivers back there at bay behind him here until the end of this stage, or even throughout the rest of this race. Is Killingback as this race lead. Let's see this next time by if we can jump on board with this. Let's jump on board with Casey Gross here. Casey, always such a beautiful race car out there, such a smooth driver, such a smooth operator. Let's see if we can jump on board here with Casey Gross and see what he can see here from the cockpit. Alrighty, there you go. Look out, Casey Gross, hang on to it, oh baby. Oh, just as he was getting ready to complete that lap, he goes for a bit of a wild slide right there. Luckily enough, he's able to catch it, keep that car rolling. Let's take a look back and see what happens here to the 77 ride. As, man, that was a heck of a save right there as that car almost goes around him and Tuisku. They're 3-1, but you take a look and see just how close these drivers are running off each other. Only a couple inches or a couple feet at times, and all of a sudden you run out of room as him and Robert Tuisku make contact. They both come together, unfortunately, for the number 6 ride right there of Tuisku. Definitely just kind of right in the wrong spot at the wrong time, in the middle of 3 wide right here. Casey Gross comes down across his nose and pushes them both down into Billy Jordan here. Now, Billy's going to end up getting the worst end of this deal. Billy gets shoved down through the grass here. He's trying to save it, trying to keep it out of the wall. Then all of a sudden, as he's getting this thing checked up, it snap kind of hooks on him again, and he gets another shove from the 6 ride of Tuisku right here, and it's going to send him down to the infield and makes hard contact there with that inside fence. Heavy damage there on the 14 run for one of those drivers just trying to race their way into this Championship 8 here this year. Unfortunately for one of them, already running into some major issues out there on the racetrack, and Billy's definitely not going to be super thrilled about that one, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to continue to keep on battling here. As out in front, it's once again Mike Killingback. Killingback again finds his way to the front of the field here in this one, so Killingback feeling good out there on the racetrack. James Garland up and into position number 2. What it would mean for Mr. James Garland to try to pick up a dub here on the season and try to pick up one here at even Talladega or Daytona late in the season. Definitely going to make it for a much better year here for that number 13 run. We'll see if he can try to get it done here tonight, as right now he's looking and feeling pretty good out there, so he's continuing to lead the way. Well, sits in second here behind Mike Killingback, but leading all these other drivers, as you do see Bromfield jump up to the outside lane. They're trying to get that outside lane moving here. Once again, trying to make this a 2-car fight in a little door-to-door action here at the front of the field, as stage number 2 is quickly coming to a close here. We're quickly reeling into the end of this one as Steven coming in with that follow over there on Facebook. Welcome to the Peacemaker family, Steven, and my fella Mr. Dude Guy. What's good, brother? Dude guy coming in, showing the love. How are you, dude? How you doing this evening? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day, Brian. Hopefully you're enjoying your Sunday, and hopefully, you're enjoying some wicked racing action out there on the Speedway, as well as you do see Killingback, Garland, Devin Black are top 3 out there on the racetrack. Bromfield trying to stay in that top 3, as you do see the 76 ride. That is Caleb McKinney. McKinney going to go another lap down here this evening, so he did just get that free pass. The lucky dog back on the last caution flag there on our first stage break now for the Overton 76. Unfortunately, has quickly fallen off the pace. Now back a lap down again here this evening, and he'll have to try to battle back from that one here again today, as right now he is in that free pass spot. He is in the lucky dog position, I do believe. Actually, I don't know. He may not be. Looks like Adolfo Castillo may be in that lucky dog spot. So for the 76 ride, definitely not a spot you want to be, as we do see the caution flag fly. Yellow flag is back out into the air here, as it looked like Anthony Garland going to run into some issues here. There's Garland right there, parked down low on the bottom side of corner number 2, and we will see our second caution flag of the day fly. Let's take a look at it, see what happens here to the Poor Boy Motorsports ride as he's rolling up into that third lane here. El Reed gets a good run down to the inside, trying to reel in the back bumper of Josh Bromfield. Unfortunately, the 81 leaves that middle lane open, then comes back down. Unfortunately, goes up and across the nose of the RT3 Designs number 3 machine as Al Reed gets into him. They both end up going around it. Unfortunately, here some pretty solid contact for both of those drivers. Now, a great break here for not only Adolfo Castillo, but also a great break for Caleb McKinney or Ryan Haller, some of these other drivers, as they could potentially use these quick couple caution flags to potentially put themselves back into action here this evening, potentially put them back on the lead lap, as Adolfo will get that free pass, the lucky dog, that will get him back onto the lead lap here this evening. And if we go back to green flag racing before this stage officially comes to a close, then we should see another caution flag here in about 4 or 5 laps, and potentially could give another wave around here to that 76 ride. So we could end up with a few more drivers back onto lead lap here before this next stage gets started, as we will take a look. It is Mike Killingback with that race lead. Josh Bromfield back in second. Then we see James Garland, Devin Black, Kurt Sponsler, our top 5 here on the Speedway. Chris Muse back in 6th with Cameron Combs, Chad Lancaster, Johnny Thunders, Robert Tuwiscu, and Anthony Garland, our top 11 out there on the racetrack. Then we do see the number 77 of Casey Gross, the 3 machine of Al Reed back in 14th. Adolfo Castillo, who's looking for that lucky dunk, the free pass there to get back on the lead lap for Caleb McKinney. He's going to be looking for another caution flag, hoping that he can get himself back onto the lead lap here before that final stage, as well as we do see a few drivers head down pit side, as we do see Josh Bromfield, Anthony Garland, Chad Lancaster, the number 77 of Casey Gross. So a bunch of these drivers making some different pit strategy calls out there on the Speedway, trying to set themselves up here for later in this race. As we inch closer and closer towards the end of stage number 2, it's going to get very, very interesting. We still got the lights turned on, the official iRacing pace car. That means we're going to get a quick break in here, and we'll be right back just after these messages.
Engines roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.
Alrighty, here we go. Getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here in our penultimate race with the Outcast Racing League. As out in front, continue to lead the way, it is the 70 ride of Mike Killingback. Killingback out in front, looking for the restart down through the Geico restart zone. This time, a much better restart there for the outside lane. The 13 ride did not jump the start. Will not get a pass-through penalty. Will not have to serve that penalty here this evening, as we did see a couple of drivers have those issues early on in this race, as Adolfo Castillo is back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, Caleb McKinney back there in 15th. He's hoping for another caution flag here, and he may get one at the end of this stage if we still run it. Lap number 40 here for our stage break here today is out in front. Killingback looking for another stage win. Some more points here, helping his case to try to, I do believe, race his way into our championship 8 here this year once again for that number 70 ride is Mike Killingback. Unfortunately, he was right there tied with that cut line. Him and Devin Black, who are now door to door. Black to the outside, looking to make the pass around the 70 ride. Those are two drivers that came in tied in points here coming into this penultimate race. And with stage number 2 coming to a close here in just a couple laps, this could be a heck of a drag race to see who can jump up, steal this stage win, and put themselves into the maximum points here for this stage and trying to take those 10 stage points and hopefully use them to advance yourself into the final round of our championship battle. For Killingback, he is now slid back into about the 7th position on the racetrack. Definitely not where he wants to be right now, as Kurt Sponsler, though, out in front. Here comes Cameron Combs, Robert Tuwiscu, Devin Black, all right there. Is Black getting a big run down to the back bumper of that 49 ride, and it's going to be a fight all the way down through the trial. You do see Tuwiscu trying to get to the outside now of that 15 ride. Not a whole lot of helping hands right there for him, but out in front and leading us through the tri-oval and back down across the line, it's Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler will pick up stage win number 2 here this evening in that NOS Energy Elite Sim Racing Outcast Racing League number 49 ride. Kurt Sponsler able to pick up that second stage win. Devin Black comes home in second. Chris Muse there in third. Mike Killingback back in position number 4 on the racetrack, as we do see Cameron Combs, Chad Lancaster, Al Reed, Casey Gross, Josh Bromfield, James Garland rounding out our top 10 here in stage number 2 this afternoon. It's already 40 laps completed here, only 50 laps left to go. And now as we get these drivers all loaded up and ready to go to fight here for the final stage, it's going to become very, very interesting. Obviously, we could see long green flag runs. We could still see, the big one, the big wrecks out there on the racetrack. So it'll be interesting to kind of see and tell where these big wrecks are going to be coming from as there we go. Everyone's waiting for that pace car. Finally, the pace car catches up to the field, goes around our race leaders. Now they'll pick up the pace here and follow back in line behind the official iRacing pace car here this evening as we'll have to wait and see if drivers elect to come down pit side. Who's going to make that call? Who already came down pit road? As we did see some drivers make that pit stop already, like Casey Gross came down pit side already. Chad Lancaster came down pit road. Bromfield, Al Reed, Anthony Garland. Some of these drivers already making those pit stops here beforehand. So we'll have to wait and see if other drivers make these decisions. As we do see Mike Killingbeck. Oh, the pit road is closed right here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but pit road is closed. I'm not sure if we're going to get an angle at this or not, but we did see pit road was for certain closed. It's still closed right here. So I'm not sure what is going on here, but it's a closed pit road, and that could be a lot of penalties for a lot of these other drivers. Potentially fuel was just too tight for them, and coming down pit side just made the most sense out there. Now that's going to lose a lot of positions for them, and unfortunately for a lot of these drivers, they'll have to go to the back of the longest line. For Killingbeck, he stayed out. Same with Casey Gross and Chris Muse. No, Muse did come down pit side, so only Casey Gross and Killingbeck stayed out right there. Did not come down pit road for their pit stops. So not sure if this is going to work in their favor or if this is going to hurt them, as they may have to come down pit side the next time around. We'll have to wait and see. As let's see if we can get our Stage 2 winner up into the Discord here for a little in-race interview. It's Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler comes home in position number 1 there at the end of stage number 2. Let's see if we can get Kurt up here into the booth for a little in-race interview here for this number 49 ride. That's if we got him in the Discord here. Can we find him? Where's he at? There he is. All right, we might be able to get him up and in here. Let's see if we can pull him in right now. Let's see if we can just...
Halfway,
Hey, Kurt, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Kurt, brother, man, great run, great drive here in the first couple stages, and obviously picking up that stage win's a big one for you here this evening, man. Take us through some of the racing action, though, out there on the racetrack. Obviously, things are moving quickly. Things are happening fast out there. Already seen a few caution flags and a few incidences. What are you going to do here to keep yourself out of trouble and try to put yourself up into victory lane here today?
A lot of it's just teamwork with ESR, a lot of communication back and forth. And it's definitely getting wild and crazy. People are making a lot of unexpected moves, and we just try to work with them as they happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, not being one of our playoff drivers here this year, it's a tough break for you, but obviously trying to help your Elite Sim Racing teammates, into that final round, into that Championship 8. Obviously, Tuisku, he's right there. He's tight to it. Al and Cam are pretty far forward here. They may not have to worry too much about those points, but you get something up your sleeve. You're going to be trying to help Tuisku out as much as possible to try to help him advance into that next round.
Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely just doing my best to help my teammates, being that I'm not in playoff contention right now. And that was honestly not the plan, but, we pretty much, the stage when we got there, or at least I got there, wasn't planned at all. But it's good team points at the very least. But otherwise, from here on out, it's really just trying to get the rest of my ESR teammates who are in the playoffs as far up the front as possible.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be exciting to watch you guys duke it out here for the rest of the evening. Congrats on that Stage 2 win, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth at the end of the night.
Got it. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too. Thanks.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our Stage 2 winner, Kurt Sponsler, as Kurt comes home in position number 1 there in Stage 2, wins that second stage of the day in that beautiful NOS Energy Elite Sim Racing number 49 ride here this evening, the Midland Struggler ride, coming home there in the top spot there in our second stage, and we'll get ready to see if he can try to keep himself up there at the front of the field, maybe put himself into a winning situation there for our race finish for the checkered flag here today. We'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. As here we go, we'll get ready to go back to battle here in this one. Drivers stacked up 2 by 2 by 2, ready to see that green flag fly here once again this evening. As out in front, it is Mike Killingback and Casey Gross stay in first and second, as they did not come down pit road there. Even for Killingback, I'm not sure what the strategy is here. He has been down pit road since lap 21. Fuel has got to be very, very tight for the 70 ride. I'm not sure what the game plan is for the 70 machine. He may have to come down pit road rather early in this final stage as he sees the green flag flying. Nonetheless, the Lawrence Tech University Quantum Motorsports number 70 rider Mike Killingback once again out in front. Here comes Chris Muse trying to reel in his back bumper. Casey Gross jumps down to the inside here. He's rolling up to the back bumper here. Is a big move there, and that Combs custom paint number 15 ride of Cameron Combs as he jumps up to the outside lane trying to get it moving. As things start grooving down the back straightaway, everyone's starting to shift gears and work themselves, trying to find their way up to the front here. We'll have to wait and see who's going to be able to find their teammates, who's going to be able to find that helping hand, and who may be able to put themselves into position to try and jump up here and maybe win this race. As there we go, we see Killingback now having to come down pit road here. So I'm not sure what the strategy call was there for Mike Killingback, is now he's coming down pit side all by his lonesome. I'm not sure if he just didn't realize he had to come down pit side right there or what the issue may have been, but even if you were to give up all that track position, it'd be better to do it during, the next couple of laps out there on the Speedway under the caution flag and not have to come down during the green flag action. Is now he's going to be rolling back out here, and unfortunately he's going to be deep in this field. He scored back in that 15th position. He's going to have no drafting help. He's going to have no one on his back bumper, and without a doubt he'll probably end up going a lap down out there, as we did see some issues for Johnny Thunders here as well, as Johnny up on the high side looks like he's going to scrub the wall not once but a couple times, and then the 60 ride shoots down the racetrack onto the apron here. I'm not sure what went wrong here for this number 60 machine, but for Johnny Thunders, he all of a sudden pulls down to the infield and tows that car right down pit side, and now he is done and off the racetrack, and that's a heartbreaker for that number 60 machine of Johnny Thunders here today. Is Killingback, he'll take that extra spot. We do see Caleb McKinney still battling up here. Now McKinney, I do believe, is still a lap down. Same with Billy Jordan now in that 14 ride. Gary Wright also off the racetrack and out of this race. So we do see Ryan Haller back onto the lead lap here this evening. So great breaks here for Ryan Haller, and he's got that Kufundi menswear. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm probably getting that completely wrong. The Kufundi menswear number 20 ride up and into the 13th position, back on the lead lap. That's a great break there for that number 20 machine. It'll be nice to see Haller be able to duke it out and battle here for the rest of this race. As out in front, they're still door to door, as we are just over halfway through this race and just a little under halfway to go here this evening from Talladega Super Speedway, and things are getting racy here at the front of the field as we will jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here on Peacemaker Gaming as we crank it up here with the Outcast Racing League. Alrighty, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session out there on the Speedway. Each and every one of them giving us the sights and sounds around Talladega Super Speedway as green flag pit stops are underway here. We did see one group head down pit road already there during the crank it up. Make that pit stop there, roll back out onto the racetrack. We'll see where they kind of get lined up out there on the Speedway as they get rocking and rolling here again this evening. Man, some great racing out there, some great clean racing. There you go. You see that first pack that came down pit side. They're all right there together. They're trying to stay locked together, hoping that they can try to stay in front of that lead pack, not go a lap down here, and hoping that maybe they can even find a little bit of advantage. But right now, they've got a lot of cars in this lead pack and not a whole lot of cars in that secondary pack out there on the racetrack, as it's being led by Cameron Combs. Combs to Wisku. Al Reed, our top three, as the Elite Sim Racing rides up at the front of the field here. And then we see James Garland and Kurt Sponsler right there in position number 5. Now here this group comes down pit road. Everyone trying to get down here nice and easily, not wanting to make a pit road speeding penalty or anything else. Looks like everyone able to get down pit road cleanly. Doesn't look like anyone was too fast, and they'll have to keep an eye on this second group as they head down the back straightaway here, being led by Chris Muse. We'll have to see where they all converge and who ends up where, who ends up potentially with this race lead, and if there's going to be a big gap between them and some of these other drivers, as we did see Chad Lancaster and the 14 ride. Unfortunately, not the best pit stops there for Billy Jordan. Still a lap down out there on the racetrack, and right now currently not even in that free pass position. Casey Gross back here. He's kind of all by himself as Lancaster is with that 14 ride. Casey Gross about 5 seconds back behind them, and that is definitely not a spot you want to be as these drivers do leave pit road. We'll see where they all line up, as here comes that secondary pack. Here comes Chris Muse and Josh Bromfield. They've got up the full song and bird in nice and easy down at a corner number 2. This other pack, they are not really tight together, but they may throw a couple big blocks here, try to jump up and block the run that these guys have down the back straightaways. They look to just move right on around all these Elite Sim Racing rides. Now they're trying to get lined up as quickly as possible, but for Cameron Combs, he's out in front here. He's still leading this race, had a great pit stop. He may be able to slide up. He may have enough speed that he could jump in front of this 99 and the 12 ride and try to keep them back there at bay, but at least we do see both of these packs kind of right there tight together, and now you do see the Elite Sim Racing teammates coming to pick up the 15 ride. Big hit to the back bumper there of that 15. Al Reed may have gotten in there a little bit too hard, trying to get his teammate rolling here, trying to build up that speed. Unfortunately caused quite a bit of front end damage here to that 3 machine, and all of a sudden that may end up giving him some serious damage out there and potentially some overheating issues. Hopefully that radiator is not blocked off or hurt or anything else out there on the Speedway, or any of the air ducts in there for the ventilation of that race car, as that 3 machine now with that heavy front end damage. Luckily enough, the good back bumper on the 15 ride doesn't look like any damage there to Cameron Combs. We do see Robert Tuiscu, Adolfo Castillo there, as you do see the 70 ride, Mike Killingbeck. Killingbeck is a lap down here. Unfortunately for Killingbeck, had to make that pit stop earlier when everyone else had already made their pit stops during that second stage. He did not come down pit side, and not making that stage pit stop unfortunately put him down pit road a short lap later, taking that green flag. All of a sudden, as he had to come down pit side, no drafting help, no pushing partners there with him, he fell back quickly to a lap down, and right now he is in that free pass position. But there's a few more drivers that may be at risk of going a lap down here over the next handful of laps, as Casey Gross kind of all by himself here, no help for him, and right now he's run about 4 seconds slower than our lead pack, so they're going to catch up to him in a quick hurry. For Chad Lancaster and the 14 rider Billy Jordan, Billy already a lap down here. They're running quite a bit off the pace of our race leaders here as well, and unfortunately for Lancaster and for the 14 rider Billy Jordan, they may go a lap down or multiple laps down if they're on the racetrack here before long as well. And then obviously Caleb McKinney, he's kind of in this pack here, him and Kurt Sponsler and the 13 rider James Garland. Now unfortunately they are still quite a ways away from that big group here, and for these 3 drivers. Definitely not the pack that they want to be a part of. Is there we go. You see down the bottom of the screen, that's the lead pack. That's the gap all the way back. Here are these three. Now for Caleb McKinney, he's still a lap down, no longer in that free pass position, as that's being held by Mike Gillingback right now. And unfortunately for Caleb, maybe stuck a lap down out there on the racetrack. Now for Caleb, he did have a big enough points gap between himself and that cut line that I don't think he's going to have to stress about points too much here this evening, but you don't want to give up too much. He didn't earn any stage points. He didn't earn, maybe he may not earn a very good finish here this evening as well, and potentially with some bonus points and everything else being handed out to some of these drivers. If they get a good finish and he still finishes back here around that 15th position, it could all of a sudden make the points very, very tight there for that 76 ride, and you do not want to have a bad run or potentially lose out on the playoffs there after having to start down on pit road. Unfortunately, he was down pit side, did not get rolling, and that's what put him a lap down early in this race as he missed the start of this race, had to start from pit lane, had no drafting help, win a lap down there in that first stage, and was just never able to get himself back onto the lead lap. And definitely a tough spot here for the 76 ride, one of our playoff competitors here this evening. Another one of our playoff competitors who came into this race with the most points out of everybody else and was sitting pretty here is at the front of the field. It's Cameron Combs. Cam Combs here at the front of the field, trying to keep all these drivers back there at bay. His Elite Sim Racing teammates right there behind him, as you do see Al Reed and Robert Tuiscu. Now Tuiscu came into this race, he was only tied for that 8th and final playoff spot here going into our Championship 8 next week. So Tuiscu knew he had to jump out here, had to have a good run, had to get some great points here, stage points and everything else to try to help him advance into that Championship 8 here this evening. For Cameron Combs and Al Reed, they were sitting pretty there. They're feeling pretty confident, and if they can finish off this race up towards the front of the field, definitely should move on into our Championship 8 again here this year. Now they're hoping to bring their teammate Tuiscu with them, and for Chris Muse, Bromfield, Anthony Garland, Devin Black, they're all hoping to advance into the final 8 here, as well as they're all up inside the top 7. Then we see Ryan Haller there in 8th, Adolfo Castillo back in 9th, Kurt Sponsler there in 10th with the 13 ride of James Garland, Chad Lancaster there in 12th, Casey Gross back in 13th, definitely not the spot that Casey wants to be. Gillingback there in 14th, he's the first car 1 lap down. Caleb McKinney back there in 15th, he's the second driver 1 lap down on the racetrack. Then we see Billy Jordan. Unfortunately for Billy here, it does look like he is a couple laps down out there on the racetrack. Johnny Thunder's already down and out of this race, same with Gary Wright as well. So we start with 18 drivers. Unfortunately, 2 of them already loaded up their rides and have left this race here, as Cameron Combs out in front, hoping to try to put himself up and into victory lane. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys are just tuning in, if you guys are just experiencing the Outcast Racing League here this evening and you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. It's absolutely free to do. Hit that thumbs up button on the stream for us right now. Hit that like button on the broadcast, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today, as you don't want to miss out on any of the racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. So make sure you guys drop that sub and become part of the family here today, as Cam Combs out in front leading the way here. Al Reed, Robert Tuiscu, our top 3 on the Speedway. Chris Muse there in 4th. Josh Bromfield back there rounding out our top 5 here this evening. Anthony Garland there in 6th with Devin Black, Adolfo Castillo, Ryan Haller, our top 9, all still right here within striking distance, all in that lead pack. Then it's about a 6-second gap back to our 10th place driver here, Kurt Sponsler in the 49. So Sponsler is about 6 seconds back of that lead pack. He's got James Garland right there with him in 11th. They are both quite a ways away from that lead pack. Chad Lancaster about 10 seconds behind them, 17, 18 seconds behind our race leaders here this evening. And then Casey Gross even farther back. Casey potentially could be the next driver to go a lap down here, as right now he rolls in 13th. He's about 41 seconds behind our race leader, as they're headed down through 3 and 4 for Casey Gross. He's just heading down into the middle of the tri-oval, so virtually half a straightaway away from potentially going a lap down here this evening. And for Casey, he's still running about 4 seconds a lap slower than our race leader, so they are probably going to catch him in the next couple laps out there on the speedway, as down across the the line. Our favorite lap has been completed here this evening. Lap number 69 done today. So 69 laps completed. Still, I believe 21 laps left to go. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here today. It is getting down to that time to shine here for these drivers and to be able to try to put themselves into that winning situation. I feel like a lot of these drivers up at the front of the field, they're probably feeling fairly confident potentially about where they're running and where some of these other drivers aren't running on the racetrack, where they may be able to leapfrog some drivers, maybe earn their way and their ticket into that championship 8, as this is going to be a really good preview of what we will see next Saturday for 200 laps at Daytona International Speedway, as we will have these drivers back in battle. They will be duking it out here once again here this evening, or next Sunday, for our championship. 200 laps at Daytona, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a very exciting race, and that one being a 200-lap race. They do start a little bit earlier, so they are starting it at 3 o'clock, so practice will start at 2 p.m. and the racing action will start at 3, so we'll be live a little bit earlier next Sunday, giving you guys a little bit extra of the racing action here. And now for a lot of these other drivers, you know, they're going to have to plan for that accordingly and hope that they can make it on time and not have to miss out on that championship race, especially if you're one of our championship drivers next Sunday. And here we go. We do see Cameron Combs and the rest of this lead pack. All of a sudden, they have caught right up to that 77 rider, Casey Gross. Casey going to be a sit and duck right here, as they're going to blow right on by him, and now he will be a lap down. And there goes Mike Killingbeck down to his inside. Killingbeck will stay in that free pass position as the first car one lap down out there on the racetrack. As unfortunate break there for Casey. Now he's hoping to get right in behind Ryan Haller, hoping to get that draft here and be able to stay in this pack as well. Now that's just going to make this pack a little bit stronger, a little bit faster out there on the speedway if Casey can hang there with them, and that could be a great break for them. But for a lot of these other drivers, obviously did not want to see another driver in this pack, because that's going to slow them down a little bit more, unfortunately keep them a little farther back there, and obviously not going to be able to reel them in as Kurt Sponsler. You do see Caleb McKinney in that 13 rider, James Garland, our 9th, 10th, and our 15th place driver, as McKinney is a lap down. They are quite a ways back here of our race leaders. They're now 11 seconds back behind Cameron Combs and the rest of that lead pack. So they are losing time. They are falling farther and farther away. And now you do see James Garland head down pit side here, kind of all by his lonesome. So as James Garland does head down pit road, that is unfortunately going to lose another car in this two-car, well, what was a three-car pack, now a two-car pack, as the lead pack is gaining cars. These guys are losing teammates out there on the racetrack to help try to keep on racing, and unfortunately, without that extra little bit of drafting help, these two drivers are going to get that little bit slower out there on the racetrack, and all of a sudden, they may be put into a position where they may be going a lap down here in a quick hurry, as you do see Lancaster a little farther back there behind Kurt Sponsler. He scored it in the 11th position, but as of right now, he's about 26 seconds away from our race leaders. Now, biting a caution flag, these drivers that are kind of running in those two-car packs, they are in a very dangerous position, as they may go a lap down in a quick hurry here today, as Cameron Combs, Al Reed, Robert Tuiscu, our top three out there on the racetrack. Chris Muse, Josh Bromfield, Anthony Garland, Devin Black, Adolfo Castillo, Ryan Haller, and Lancaster now round out our top 10, as we do see Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler heads down pit side here in that NOS Energy, the Zero Sugar NOS Energy ride down pit side. He's getting work done to his car, getting fuel added into it as well, hoping to roll back out there onto the racetrack, but unfortunately, looks like a little bit of a slower pit stop here for the 49 ride. Definitely not what he wanted, as that's going to hurt him even more this evening, as we do see his teammates, the Elite Sim Racing rides, all head down pit side here, as they're kind of right in their fuel window. They should be good on fuel for the rest of this race now that 74 laps are completed. We'll have to wait and see if Kurt Sponsler elects to kind of gum out with them, and that's exactly what happened. Sponsler does come out of the pit lane with these guys, so he's going to give up a lap and wait a little bit more down pit side just so that he can roll back out here, be here with his teammates and trying to help them potentially pick up this win, or potentially trying to lock themselves into our championship 8 there. So great great move there by your teammate. Obviously taking the bullet, sitting down pit sign for a little bit longer, waiting for them to come down pit road, complete their pit stops, and then leaving the pit lane with them here this evening. As out in front, Chris Muse now our race leaders. You do see the Poor Boy Motorsports rides all yet to come down pit side here for their what could be their final pit stop of the day, as we still have Chris Muse, Josh Bromfield, Anthony Garland, Devin Black, all yet to come down pit side. Chad Lancaster yet to come back down pit road. He'll need to make another pit stop. Same with Casey Gross there in that number 58 machine. Billy Jordan yet to come back down pit road. And unfortunately for Johnny Thunders and Gary Wright, they're both done and out of this race. But we'll have to wait and see how this one kind of all plays out. There's still quite a few drivers in this pack. Now, obviously, one of those drivers in this pack is James Garland. Now, James is not on the lead lap right now. He scored in the 12th position, not on the lead lap. He has already made that what could be his final pit stop of the day, so he doesn't really need to come back down pit road, but the 5 cars in front of him, they do have to come back down pit side. So, unfortunately, for the 13 ride, he may get left high and dry and all by himself here again this evening, unless if he elects to come back down pit road and maybe try to do that, teammate move and pit with them, try to leave pit lane with them and try to help them out here late in this race with that extra little bit of drafting help. As we do see Chad Lancaster and Billy Jordan both couldn't wait any longer. They head down pit side. They're making their final pit stops of the day. So we'll have to keep an eye and see where they roll out there onto the racetrack, as we do see Chris Muse continue to lead this race as Muse out in front, down through the tri-oval, nice and easy, back down across the start finish line. It's going to get very, very interesting out there on the speedways. We do see Cameron Combs and this other pack here. Now, they are running quicker laps. They got a few more drivers here with them. They're a little bit more organized back here for the Elite Sim Racing team. And right now they are running faster than what our race leaders are. So they could be potentially making up some time here on the speedway and potentially going to be able to leapfrog Chris Muse, Bromfield, Anthony Garland, Devin Black. And even if they make their green flag pit stops, potentially could obviously put them back here behind these guys and could be quite a ways behind them here as they continue to roll out on the racetrack. Last time around, let's take a look at it here. Yeah, again, they were quicker than all 4 drivers here at the front of the field, and now we do see Chris Muse, Anthony Garland, Josh Bromfield, Devin Black. They all head down pit side here, so they're making their final pit stops of the day. Here with only about 12 laps left to go down across the start finish line, so only about 12 laps left in this race here this evening, and it's quickly coming to a close. But man, oh man, what a show that these guys have been putting on, man. It's been clean and green, nothing but good, hard, clean green flag racing here this evening. We've really only seen, what, 2 caution flags, 3 caution flags there, 2 for our stage breaks, 1 for incident out there. Other than that, it's been nothing but clean and green battling here this evening, and these guys have been just putting together a hell of a race for us to enjoy. As there we go, you do see I do believe that is that lead pack there, the Elite Sim Racing rides blowing right on by all these other drivers. You see Anthony Garland still trying to build up that speed coming down off pit road. Bromfield back there a little bit behind him, same with Chris Muse, Devin Black right there as well. They need to get hooked up and together as quickly as possible. Ryan Haller here rolling in the 9th position. Now he has lost the draft. He's quite a ways back behind these guys though, and unfortunately for Anthony Garland, Bromfield, a lot of these other drivers, even though they're still inside the top 5, top 10 out there on the racetrack, obviously they want to be up there battling for this race win, as right now that lead back, they are just absolutely hooked up. Cameron Combs, Al Reed, Robert Tuiscu, and Adolfo Castillo, they are all running inside the top 4 right now, and they have a pretty sizable lead, about 5 seconds between themselves and these drivers back here. As you do see Bromfield now working himself around Anthony Garland. Garland may slide back a couple more spots as here comes Chris Muse and Devin Black around that 81 ride. For Cameron Combs in the Elite Sim Racing rides, though, they are currently running 1, 2, and 3 on the Speedway. Technically, the 4th car in line of this lead back is also their teammate Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler rolls there in position number 12. Now for Kurt, he is the first car 1 lap down here. He was able to stay in front of Mike Killingback, so Killingback is not on the lead lap as of right now. Same with the 49 ride of Kurt Sponsler. Kurt is also in that free pass position, so Kurt, if they do see a late race caution flag, at least we'll get that 49 back onto the lead lap here today to rejoin the battle and the fight here on the lead lap this evening. Try to advance himself and maybe get a little bit better finish. His Killingback, I'm sure he would love to get that free pass as well, but as of right now, he's just trying to survive here and hope that he's got enough points banked up and that he had enough of a gap that he can still advance into our Championship 8 after today's performance. Casey Groves back in 14th. Caleb McKinney there in 15th. Both Casey and Caleb both out there kind of running by themselves right now. Not a whole lot of help around them here this evening. And then we do see Billy Jordan back there in 16th. Johnny Thunders and Gary Wright both off the racetrack here today. As man, some great racing, some great battles here, and it's not done yet. We still got a lot of racing left to go. It's nice and easy down through the tri-oval and back down across the start finish line. We will see only 9 more laps left to go, and this is gonna be a great preview. As I said, this is gonna be a great preview on what is going to happen here next week for our championship race, as we will be going back to the Super Speedway. We'll be at Daytona International Speedway for our 200 lap championship race there at Daytona. That is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be insane to see what these drivers not only going to be able to do here today, but give you a preview about what that strategy is going to kind of look like. And for some of these other teams, some of these other drivers, you kind of got a game plan there. You got to figure things out and hope that you can try to find a groove here, and maybe over the next week get practice up, knowing and maybe studying, seeing what the Elite Sim Racing team is doing, so that way they know that when it comes time to shine next Sunday afternoon, that they can try to do exactly what these Elite Sim Racing rides are doing. Is right now they are just pulling away. They're sitting pretty here. They're sitting 1, 2, and 3 on the racetrack. Castillo right there with them, kind of following along with them there on their pit strategy, and it's worked out quite well for that Poultry Shack Quantum Motorsports number 31 ride. As you do see the 70 ride of Killingback right there. Killingback unfortunately did lead some laps earlier today. Unfortunately did go a lap down and is still scored back in that 13th position, and it is not in that free pass spot, as that is being held by the 49 ride there, the 4th Elite Sim Racing ride here at the front of the field, as Kurt right now is in that free pass spot, the lucky dog position out there on the racetrack. As a little farther back, almost now about 6 seconds behind that lead pack, we do see Josh Bromfield, Devin Black, Anthony Garland, and Chris Muse. Now these are 4 of our playoff hopefuls here in the secondary pack. Now each of these drivers, they are not giving up. They're not giving an inch out there. They know that every single spot, every single point could be make or break on their season as well, and they're trying to race their way into the playoffs here again this season as well. So for Bromfield and Garland, just hoping to finish this race off strong, and if they could come home there in the 5th and 6th position, it may be enough points that they can work themselves into that championship 8. Chris Muse back there in 7th, Devin Black there in 8th. Now they do have a bit of a gap here, about 32 seconds between themselves and our 9th place driver, Ryan Haller. In behind Haller by about another 6 seconds, you do see James Garland, as Garland back here in position number 10. Chad Lancaster right there as well, same with the 76, right of Caleb McKinney, and the 02 as the 14 of Billy Jordan. And all right there together, a nice little 4-car pack right here. And for James Garland and Chad Lancaster, they're hoping that's enough to keep them on the lead lap here this evening. Man, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. It's getting close, and they're not too far away from potentially going a lap down no matter what here, as unfortunately not too far away from them. You do see these race leaders. They are right there, and if they can find that extra little bit of speed, if they can find that extra little bit of a run, they could potentially put a few more of these drivers a lap down out there on the racetrack. But they could also add some more drivers to their pack out there on the racetrack, which could really help them and affect them in trying to drive their way up towards this win today and keeping the rest of this field back there at bay. As you see Cameron Combs continue to lead this race. Al Reed, Robert Tuwiscu. I don't think we're going to really see any moves out of the front 4 cars. I don't think any one of these guys are going to be making a big move out there on the speedway late in this race. Now normally we would see somebody try to make a move, try to make a big run and try to steal this win away, and it's going to be tough to see. It's right now, you do see the 31 right, Adolfo Castillo. He's trying to make that move. He got down onto the apron, and now he's running into issues. Him and Killingbeck get up into the outside fence. There's the caution flag. Caution flag on the racetrack as Adolfo Castillo trying to be aggressive. He knew the laps were counting down. He knew things were getting tight here, and he was trying to make his move to try to jump up here and work his way a little farther forward, trying to help himself here in these point standings. Let's take a look at the 31 down the back straightaway. The 49 kind of leaves that bottom lane open. He jumps down to that yellow line and tries to roll down to the inside of the 49, and the 49 going to try to hold him down there, not going to want to give up that spot. Finally gives him room, but it's before the 31 all of a sudden ends up onto the apron. Now as he's on the apron, bombing around there, just kind of trying to hold on to this car. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of room for him. Let's see if we can get another angle at this one. As, yeah, these guys were just battling hard right here, and unfortunately for Adolfo Castillo, going to get some pretty solid damage out of this one. Let's see if we can take a look at this as he makes this big move, drives down to the inside of the 49 right here. So he gets the room, he jumps down, he's trying to make the pass on the 49 down to the inside, make a little contact right there, then they make a little more contact, and all of a sudden it just kind of blocks this 31 right on his corner entry and gets him onto that apron and trying to get back onto the racetrack, just completely loses the balance of that car, washes back up the speedway over the nose of the 70 right of Mike Killingbeck. Heavy damage there for Killingbeck, heavy damage for Adolfo Castillo, and for a pair of our playoff competitors, definitely not how they wanted this one to go late in this race, as they'll have to head down pit side and look to get some extensive repairs done here this evening. So we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing. And for these drivers, it may be a green-white checkered potentially out there on the speedway. This is going to become very, very fun, as we do see Castillo does head down pit side. We do see Killingbeck also headed down pit road. The rest of the field still trying to catch up back here. Some drivers still just trying to roll up here and trying to catch the rear end of the field. You do see Kurt Sponsler was in that lucky dog position, so he should get that wave around, and there he goes. He will get the wave around, back around the pace car and back onto the lead lap. Now, good news is he's back into contention for the race win and for a little bit better of a finish. Unfortunately, now he's going to be separated from his teammates and from the field, and for the Elite Sim Racing team, they were sitting pretty there, 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the racetrack. Obviously, the 49, he was running in that 4th slot, but he was not in the 4th position, being a lap down. But they kind of had full control of this race. They had a massive lead between themselves and that secondary pack, being led by Josh Bromfield, Anthony Garland, Chris Muse, and Devin Black. And all of a sudden, they have closed that gap, and they are right there on top of our race leaders, and they are ready to try to go to battle and see if they can make some moves and maybe steal this win away from the Elite Sim Racing rides here this evening, as Cameron Combs, Al Reed, and Tuisku going to look to try to get lined up here once again and just work their way to the front and keep themselves there for the rest of this race, as this is going to get very, very interesting here late in this race. Who do you guys think will get it done? Who do you think will pick up the dub here in this one? As Sure Haller says, come on, Ryan Haller, you can do it. Cheered on that 20 ride says, number 20, move it on up. Move it on up, she says. Well, Haller is going to move on up into the 10th position now. He's still on the lead lap. That caution flag, timely one there for him, as he did not go a lap down. It puts him right back into the action here this evening. Same with Chad Lancaster. So for Lancaster and Haller, James Garland as well, all kind of getting a lucky break right there, staying on the lead lap and now back into the action here this evening. Kurt Sponsler also back into the battle as he rolls there in 12th. Caleb McKinney now into 13th, as Mike Killingbeck back there in 14th. Billy Jordan in 15th. Casey Gross back in 16th. Looks like Casey's taken his car off the racetrack here since lap number 82, and unfortunately Casey's night, I do believe, is done. Same with Johnny Thunders and Gary Wright, and Edward Belair bringing up the rear of the field. As we'll get ready to set them back loose, we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. It will be a green-white checkered finish. So we will have a few attempts here at NASCAR Overtime here today. If we see that white flag fly, the next flag will end this race no matter what. If we see the caution flag fly, before that white flag, before we complete one lap around. Then we will stack them up, we will rack them up, and we will try it all over again. But we're going to have a few attempts at that potentially here today. If we do see, a few caution flags before that white flag flies, then the final attempt, our third and final attempt here for the NASCAR overtime, will unfortunately call the race no matter what. Even if we get down just past the start-finish line into corner number 1 on that third attempt, if the caution flag does come back out before taking that white flag on the third attempt, it will be the end of the race no matter what. We will finish this race under the caution flag. That's definitely not what we want to see. We want to see this one end right here, right now. We want to see it end under the green flag conditions and watch these drivers battle, duke it out, and race their hearts out here in these closing laps to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. And for some of these drivers, potentially could be some moves to put themselves into that championship 8 here this year. 4 drivers, unfortunately, will be eliminated. 8 drivers will move on into our season finale, as this is our penultimate race of the year. So this is going to get very, very wild in a quick hurry, as we will get them stacked up. We will get them racked up door to door out there on the racetrack, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Talladega Super Speedway, as the Outcast Racing League ready to duke it out here in the Combs Custom Paints 240. As these drivers are ready to go back to battle, we will see that pace car make the hard left-hand turn back down pit side. So the pace car off the racetrack. That means we'll stroll down through this very long front straightaway down through the tri-oval, and just on the exit of this tri-oval, that's where we will see that Geico restart zone. Now for the Elite Sim Racing team, they want to try to manage this restart enough that they can kind of get lined up, try to work together, and try to keep themselves in front of everybody else. Is not a very good restart right there for Anthony Garland. Garland really did not get fired off right there very nicely, and now we do see the Elite Sim Racing rides trying to get lined up here. Now they got to make a decision. Do they stay in the outside lane? Do they stay down low? You do see the 15 rider Cameron Combs. He elects to stay down low here, as here comes that 12 rider Josh Bromfield right to his back bumper. Bromfield to his back bumper as they head down the back straightaway. See these drivers all squirreling around. Here comes Haller looking to make some moves here late in this race. As Haller is right there, they storm down the back straightaway into corner number 3. They're running only inches off of each other. Somehow, I don't know how they did not wreck right there down through corner number 3 and 4. As here we go, down to the tri-oval here. More bumps, more pushes. All these drivers trying to navigate their way to the front of the field. Bromfield jumps to the line, looks to the outside, is down and out of the tri-oval. We will see that white flag fly. So one more time around here from Talladega Super Speedway. The next flag will end this race no matter what, as a big block by the Elite Sim Racing number 3 machine of Al Reed, as Reed jumps up, blocks the outside lane, blocks all that speed and momentum out of the 12 rider Josh Bromfield now looking to the middle here, looking to spit out that number 3 right as they chew him up and they move him up into the 3rd lane here on the racetrack. Unfortunately, that will slide him back, as here comes Bromfield. Big run down through corner number 3 and 4. They're going to blow right on by the Elite Sim Racing rides as they're wrecking a little farther back there. Bunch of drivers collected, but we're going to race back down to the line. Bromfield with the lead. Chris Muse, Devin Black, all right there. Black looking to make a move. Pushes the 99 right up to the high side. Here comes the 6 machine as they battle back down to the line. It's the 12 of Josh Bromfield who will pick up the checkered flag here this evening. The Poor Boy Motorsports Outcast Racing League number 12 machine will pick up the win here this evening in the Combs Custom Paint 240, live from Talladega Super Speedway. What a run and what a drive there for Josh Bromfield, able to make those late race moves and find his way up and into victory lane here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for our race winner, as Devin Black able to come home in second. Desperately needed those points in that good run to be able to come home in position number 2. May have been enough for him to advance into our championship 8 here this year, as a pair of Poor Boy Motorsports rides in position number 1 and 2 here this evening. Robert Tuiscu comes home in position number 3. Cameron Combs there in 4th. Chris Muse ends up in position number 5 here today. Adolfo Castillo, Ryan Haller, Chad Lancaster, Anthony Garland, Kurt Sponsler, Al Reed all the way back in 11th, James Garland, Caleb McKinney, Mike Killingbeck, Billy Jordan, Casey Gross, Johnny Thunders, Gary Wright, and Edward Belair round out our field here this evening. But it's all Josh Bromfield as he gets burned down the house here at Talladega Super Speedway after picking up our penultimate race win here in the Outcast Racing League. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for all these drivers. An absolutely amazing run, an absolutely amazing finish here today, man. What a show and what a performance by all these competitors, and we'll get ready to pull them up and into our broadcast booth here this evening for some post-race interviews. Post-race interviews coming up next here. We'll pull all these drivers up and into the booth for their post-race interviews here this evening to see, what they're feeling, how they're feeling, what they're thinking out there on the racetrack for, points and everything else. Is it's going to get very, very tight. The admin crew are going to have to go to work. They're going to have to try to calculate all these points and knowing what they need to do or where they need to put them. But I do believe with Josh Bromfield picking up this win automatically locks his way into the next round of our playoffs. He will be a part of our Championship 8 here this evening. It's Kev, what's good? Holler, how are you, mister? Says 7th after being 2 laps down. I'll take it. Had GPU issues on that final shove by the 70. Didn't mean to wreck the 3, all that stuff. That's tough. Hey, it happens. Unfortunately, contact is push and shove, and your only inches are literally already touching the driver in front of you. And obviously, things can go wrong in a quick hurry. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner, Josh Bromfield. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Josh, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Not too bad, Josh, man. What a run. What a drive. How are you feeling right now as you're able to pull your number 12 ride up here into the Talladega Super Speedway victory lane?
Hey, can you pull the other guys in since they're my teammates with me?
I can do that. Yeah, I mean we can
yeah,
tackle
absolutely. So,
we can tackle all 3 right now.
Yeah, so definitely a group effort today. I had to miss last week. My son was in the hospital, and my team helped me and pushed me to the win. Couldn't have done it without a group effort, and just amazing race today. Didn't get caught up in any accidents, and I have to thank my team. Without them, Chris pushing me and Devin right there on his backside, there at the end, a hole opened up, and just seen some light there, and we went for it. So
Absolutely. As we saw you guys there on that final lap, obviously make the move to the outside down through 1 and 2. Al Reed jumps up, tries to throw that little bit of a block, trying to hold you guys up, or maybe trying to keep himself in front of you. It doesn't take long before you guys chew him up and spit him out down the back straightaway. Take him 3 wide and carry that speed and momentum down into corner number 3 as you blow right on by the rest of the Elite Sim Racing rides there through the middle of the back straightaway and down into corner number 3 here. And then obviously it's kind of down to you guys. And all of a sudden, Devin, you're right there. You're trying to get points as well. You're trying to race your way into the playoffs, but so isn't Chris Muse. And obviously, Bromfield needing that win. You weren't going to move him or try to pass him, but you make the move there down low, and you open up the door to get around Chris Muse. Was that solely just trying to get that 1 extra point just to be on that safer side here later in the evening, knowing that you may need that extra point out there on the racetrack?
I mean, a lot of it had to do with that. We were just really trying to put together a good team effort, stick to strategy, what we discussed the whole time. We come with a big run on the outside. The 3-car got up, was able to throw the block, but we was just able to carry the momentum, walk on by through the middle, and let her hang out. And just, it's a really good race overall. Just, the speed was there the whole time. The team was great. You couldn't really ask for a better race overall.
It's a little teaser for next week.
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely. Definitely a teaser for next week. We talked about that, obviously, going back to the Super Speedway into that championship 8 now. Both, obviously, Bromfield with the win here. I do believe you win and you're in. And after missing last week, you were sitting back in 12th. You were the farthest driver back there. And obviously, so many points behind after missing last week's race. obviously you weren't feeling very comfortable. You probably weren't going to be able to point your way in, so you needed to win this race to advance into that Championship 8 here this year, man. Take us back through your thought process throughout this race, knowing that you needed that late race caution flag. You needed that opportunity to win this thing, and luckily enough, you were able to get it there with moves by the 31 ride there later on in this race.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean, like Devin said, it was a group effort. We kind of created a strategy at the get go, and you know, as a team, everybody stuck together, and we kept pushing. We was kind of nervous there at the end when we were a little further back on our last pit stop, and then that caution gave us some hope, and you know, the team got together and we just charged to the front, and it's super excited. Like my dreams of being in the championship this season was kind of over after missing last week, and I just can't thank my team enough. Can't thank Outcast Racing League for putting this on. Can't thank you, Peacemaker Gaming, for putting on a great broadcast, and really looking forward to next week and what our team can put together.
Absolutely going to be a fun time to watch there, man, and heck of a run for yourself, Josh Devin. Do you want to add in any thanks as well here this evening for your second place performance?
I'd like to thank the team. They put together a strategy. I kind of wasn't really able to hear everything till I popped in the last moment, but they put together a hell of a strategy and was able to just make everything work. And like to thank my wife, as always, biggest supporter of me, and just ready to look forward to next week to see what the team does, and really overall effort from everybody.
Absolutely. Well, we got Muse in here as well. Chris, obviously, there at the end, helping push your teammates there to the front of the field, and then giving that courteous point back to the 7 ride there, moving up and out of the way for Devin Black to take second. But you fall back into position number 5 as Tuisku and Combs were able to get by you. How are you feeling? How confident are you that you're going to be able to point your way into that Championship 8 here this year as well?
Well, I actually finished third. At the end there. Yep.
Okay, SDK shows me 5th, so they're lying to me.
Yeah. The official iRacing's got me at third, and I was half a car length ahead of Tuisku when we crossed the line. So
I thought so. I totally thought so. It kind of threw me off there because as I pulled you guys in, I thought we were going to get all 3 of the top 3 finishers in here, and then I was looking at STK, and it was telling me that Tuisku and Combs were in front of you, so I was kind of thrown off there for a second, but I'm glad that you were able to come home third as well, so you got to be feeling very confident on your point standings and rolling into that, obviously elimination here at the end of this race.
Oh yeah, I had a good cushion, so I volunteered to throw the block in case because it looked like Tuisku was coming. So when I got out, obviously the Devin sucked up to Brom and got by me. I knew that was going to happen. I wasn't worried about it because I was trying to just keep them back there so Brom could get the win.
Absolutely. Well, Brom does get the win. Devin Black does come home in second. You come home in third here. Chris, who would you like to thank for a great run and great performance out there tonight as well?
I'd like to thank my girlfriend. She's my, my biggest support as well. My mom and dad and the sponsors, and you for putting this on every week.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Josh, Devin, Chris, congrats on the great run. Congrats on the great performance here and the 1-2-3 finish here on our penultimate race of the season. We can't wait to see what you guys got in store for us next week at Daytona for that championship race.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
for having us. And one last thing, I'd like to say hi to my son, JT Brumfield. He's watching from the hospital, and love you, bud. And that's all I got.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Josh, Devin, Chris, congrats on the great runs. And hopefully you guys have the great rest of your afternoons, and we'll see you back out there on the Speedway next Sunday.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our top threes, our top three drivers all coming in. Not very often that we do top three interviews together, so that was definitely an interesting one for myself. Definitely a little bit more of a strategizing one, having to ask questions to all three virtually at the same time, but also trying to make sure that we pinpoint certain questions to each driver in their own rights. As, man, a heck of a run, heck of a drive there. Great moves late in this race from Bromfield, Devin Black, and Robert Tuisku there late in this race. And now we did see that bit of a wreck here down through corner 3 and 4 late in this race, as well as obviously they were blowing by. They were taking the race lead here down the back straightaway. Let's take a look here. We do see one driver already back turned around. Now, I'm not sure who that may have been. That was killing back Billy Jordan. That was Billy Jordan back here. So Billy goes for a slide down the back straightaway. Now, this is a tough break for Billy, as he's got the 13 ride here. That is James Garland to his back bumper. Now, they're trying to push each other to the front here. Obviously, 13 kind of gets out of line, gets over his back bumper, all of a sudden just kind of hooks him, spins him hard down into the inside wall there. Heavy hit for Billy Jordan. Definitely not the night he wanted to have after qualifying in the pole, and then all of a sudden running into some big issues there. And then a little farther down the road, we do see more drivers get collected here, as the craziness there at the front of the field. Everyone battling. Now they're 4 wide down into corner number 3, and then obviously big run here for the 20 ride of oh, man, right there, you do see a couple drivers getting together. I do believe that is Mr. Haller. Unfortunate contact there for Ryan, and the 3 machine of Al Reed. Al obviously slower. He had just gotten, put up 3 wide here. He didn't really have any drafting up to his back bumper, so he's a little slower on the racetrack, and then the 20's trying to get around him there. They make contact, shoves the 3 up into the outside fence as he gets squirrely. Then there's contact back there behind them as they start to stack up. Everyone obviously sees his contact, sees the 3 ride getting squirrely, and things may have been happening back there anyways, but I think they all start to really see this 3 ride get sideways, starting to wreck, and that checks a lot of these guys up as the 3 hard up into the outside fence. Then we see Haller. He gets up into Killingback as him and Killingback beat and bang here. They roll down into corner number 4. The 31 gets in there, gets a piece of that contact as well for Adolfo Castillo. Now, they're able to kind of keep things collected, keep on rolling there, and they're able to come home in 7th and position number 6 there for Castillo and for Ryan Haller. But a little deeper back behind them, you see Anthony Garland, and I do believe Kurt Sponsler here is at almost the same time that the 20 ride makes contact there with the 3 machine. It looks like the 49 already going around here. They were 4 wide at this point, and I don't think Kurt Sponsler really realized that as they make a little contact here on quarter entry into corner number 3. There's some big bumps here, and it looks like Garland in the 49, they make a little contact right there, and it kind of gets them unbalanced, and then all of a sudden, as the contact between the 20 and the 3 ride happens, the 49 comes down and across the nose of James Garland here, and then that's going to collect the 81 ride, the 02 a Lancaster. They all start to go around right there. Definitely not a spot that Kurt Sponsler wanted to beat, or Anthony Garland. James Garland and Lancaster obviously all getting some pretty solid contact and damage out of this. When you see the 81 up and into the outside fence right there. Good damage for the Poor Boy Motorsports number 81. Ryan, I know he would love to have joined his teammates there at the front of the field. Unfortunately, had to settle back there for a 9th place finish, and hopefully that's enough points for him to be able to advance into the next round of our playoffs and into that championship 8 race next Sunday night. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately that will do it for us for the racing action here this evening. Unfortunately, that will be the end of the broadcast here this evening. We can't thank you guys enough though for tuning in and showing the love here all evening long, man. A great race, a great show, and we can't thank you guys enough for coming in, showing the love, and showing the support here this evening. Every single like, comment, share helps push the stream out even more. And to any of our new followers or subscribers over on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, we appreciate each and every single one of you, and we'll see you guys back here in the booth a little later than tonight. A couple hours from now, we'll be back live, so make sure you turn on those bell notifications so that way you don't miss any of the racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. But thank you all for watching, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next one, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Engines roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray. Racing roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.